This is the 189th episode of CloudFocus Weekly for the first week of September 2014. This episode is titled Wearing Thin. Do you want to wow your customers? Well, sign up now for the upcoming webinar entitled Wowing the Customer with Salesforce for Service. It'll be on September 9th, which is next week, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for all you international and/or West Coast people. Go to brighttalk.com and search for Wowing to register for it. Justin here, who is my co-host today, will be attending and running it. Or are you like semi-running it? What are you doing?
I'm running it. I'm the MC.
You're the MC?
I'll be the first person talking. I'll be introducing our two guest speakers, Sarah Gall and Benjamin Irvine.
Okay. I was like, why are we talking about this if you have nothing to do with it?
I do have something to do with
good.
it. I'm running it.
Excellent.
And I'll be moderating the questions and the answers, which is a very important job. And what else about it? I think that's about it.
It'll be fun.
It'll be a lot of
It's
fun.
Be a good one.
We're doing a dry run today in about an hour and a half.
Okay.
To get the tech down.
Can't
it's
wait.
New tech for everybody.
WebEx.
And also get the
New
story
tech.
together. Well, it's the whole question answer piece is in another console.
Oh, whatever.
It's like this thing you can mark things as priority. You can mark them as already answered. It's very cool.
So I'm going to do a little
Check
off.
boxes.
I'm going to go off a little.
What are you going to
tiny
do?
little rant.
A rant?
So we were just on a Salesforce.
No,
no?
don't rant.
Don't
There's
you
no
go on that?
reason.
No,
It's
that's
so
so
silly.
good.
Actually,
All
it
right.
was funny.
It was funny.
Go ahead, do it.
So we go on this. We go on this Salesforce. I guess webinar is for Dreamforce sponsors.
Yes,
and
which we are.
It was and it was announcing
Booth
a new
EC
feature.
14. Oh no, that's not our booth.
Wow.
That's our registration
Good
code.
job.
Oh man,
You're
I blew
terrible.
that.
Try that again.
I was seguing.
Wait,
into
hold
something.
on. Wait,
Start over.
let's get
Start over. Cut this out.
Arkus took it out. So then just go ahead. It's already gone.
Oh, okay.
So where are we in Dreamforce?
Oh, booth N1032.
Which is in the.
It's in Moscone North.
There you go. If just
N
people don't,
for North.
Yeah,
booth,
but people don't know
booth
that.
N1032.
And if I want to save $100 off the $30,000 registration price,
You can save $100 off $30,000 by typing in EC14 ARKUS at
Excellent.
checkout.
excellent. And we will be demoing our new product. That is super secret. but
Super
coming.
duper secret.
We just spent a half hour
But we're
arguing
about
about it.
But we're about to give a little like little itty bitty glimpse into like what it is sort of has something to do with by telling this story.
No, I'm not going to tell that part of it.
Oh, but that's the best part.
Oh no, I'm gonna. So anyway, so we're on this webinar. I was really gonna make a little, So we've said for years, again, Salesforce,
a little, something.
a little Salesforce. I love you so much, but I think you guys are obsessed with decks. And so we get on this thing, and it's literally this. It's a half an hour webinar, and it's 5 pictures, 5 deck or 5 slides of a deck, and they get on and they have someone intro it, who then for 4 seconds then hands it off to somebody else, who then kind of runs it, and at the end of it, again, they were showing something that'll be kind of new and cool inside the at the booths, and for special booths we'll get it, but I'm not going to tell you we're going to get it. How's that?
We're getting
it'll be something
whatever
on our
this
booth.
thing is.
Right.
We're getting it, and it's in 3D.
We were making fun of them because they said it's in 3D, and we're like, do you need 3D glasses to see it?
It's 3-dimensional
It's
because
3D
it's real.
Because it's
in
real.
life.
It was funny. Anyway, I just thought it was funny. At the end of it, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could. I guess maybe you don't want to just send out, a PDF with like, here's what it is, and here's where it goes, and here's 5 questions.
They're going to do that anyway,
Yeah,
but I
probably
think
true.
it's nice to over communicate. Personally, I think that's nice.
It was a cool webinar, but our point was that it seems like it's like, how many Salesforce people does it take to run a webinar? I think the over under is on 4.5, and this might have been under, but on yours I think it might be over.
Over
4.5 people to run the.
Well, there's
webinar.
the 3 presenters, and then I believe there's going to be at least 2 others in the background.
All right, that's how important it is.
Yeah.
All right, so we did our Dreamforce news, we did our whatever. We do not have a blog post to talk about this week, so for all you who don't like us touting our own blog post wares,
go next week.
Good, next week we'll come back. We have another Winter 14 coming up next week. I have not read it, but it looks good. But we do have 2 Salesforce things to talk about. We're going to talk about the rebranding of communities, and then we're going to talk about Salesforce Where, which I guess is Salesforce getting into the wearables. Both these things have sort of like last of the minute, so I don't have a ton on them, but I'll still sound better talking about them than you. So let's go ahead. Lead me into this conversation.
Well, I can't tell if this is a rebrand or a launch of a new product, but communities will be known as a new cloud. There's a new cloud.
Oh.
It's the Salesforce One Community Cloud.
Okay. So does everybody in the world, I'm asking all the listeners, does
Right.
everybody get that they have now basically everything is Salesforce One, that it's Salesforce One mobile, Salesforce One platform, Salesforce
everything.
One community? Like, does everybody get that?
This is the Community Cloud. It's the Salesforce One Community Cloud.
Right. So Salesforce One is becoming the prefix. It's like it's the salutation to everything. You don't have a
Correct.
community cloud. You have the Salesforce One community cloud. You don't have a mobile. You have Salesforce One mobile. I don't know if it's just so they can, I don't know. It seems odd because at Salesforce.com releases Salesforce One community cloud. So Salesforce One is kind of I don't know. I guess it's the new platform and they just want to say it's the platform.
I guess. And it came, with a press release. And in that press release, there was some interesting stuff in there, like around pricing, which I don't really understand, but
Ooh, tell
Salesforce
me about
One
the
Community
pricing.
Cloud starts at $500 per month and is generally available, with new advances expected to be generally available in October 2014.
That sounds like a date that sounds like So wait a second.
So
Starts
I
at
don't know-
$500 a month.
I don't
For
know what that means. I don't know.
It's $500
As
for
someone who works with communities, I'm not sure what
Well,
exactly
we know the
you
pricing
get
of
for $500
we know
a
the
month.
pricing of communities. We have the documents. We've seen them. We've played around with them. They're usually based on users, though, logged in users.
or volume,
Right.
like logging in.
Well, either that is volume. It's logging in. It's either logged in users or a volume of logged in users.
Right. Well, you can either buy users or you can buy logins.
Right. But
Which are different.
I get it. But users are logging in, meaning yes, you're not buying them to stay on for the full year. You're buying 3,000 to log in every month. It doesn't have to be the same 3,000.
Right.
It could be a different 3,000. Well, that's kind of interesting.
I feel like one of these is like employee community, which is basically what we know as the Chatter Plus license.
Not Chatter only, which is what it shows up in the org as. Chatter only.
Like accounts read only, contacts read only, Chatter, knowledge read only, cases create read comment only, 10 custom objects, dashboards, reports, answers, ideas, workflow, blah 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 blah.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see
That's an interesting addition.
I'd like to see Chatter. Is Chatter free inside of a community?
Yeah, I don't know. You're blowing my mind.
Yeah,
You're blowing my mind with the licensing.
because honestly, there's been, and actually this morning was.
Don't be honest.
I know.
Lie.
I don't like that.
Please
experience.
lie.
This morning I was thinking about. There's a product that you and I use a lot in our building called Building Link.
Building Link.
And I always think, man, I could rebuild this in Salesforce.
Yeah.
But for the licensing.
the licensing.
The licensing is what stinks.
But who knows how much Building Link costs?
Well,
the
it costs
building.
something.
It costs the building
Cost
something.
the building something.
Not us. That's what it would be.
Well, it costs us as owners of the building.
right.
I'm just saying I could, and there's the community aspect to it. There's the profiles of it. I'm like, this could be rebuilt in Salesforce and have all the chatterness of it, the groups,
Right.
the sharing. You build some custom objects to do some
File
of the things.
sharing. Because
File sharing.
They do a lot of
they
file
post
stuff.
it, the notifications.
Repair requests, all that stuff. Can be
Right.
done
When
in
your key gets
Salesforce.
taken out, your spare key gets shoot you an email. I'm
It
like,
can
ooh,
all-
workflow email
and a
alert.
mobile app. It can all be done.
Right. I just was then.
There you go. Someone has a product idea.
Well, and I was thinking, but then I
Go
thought,
for it.
oh, it's the licensing thing that I think I wouldn't go build it.
Yep.
All right.
So anyway, I think, the employee community to me is the most interesting one because I don't quite understand the difference between this and like a Chatter Plus license.
Right.
Except for the cases thing, which is interesting because you should be allowed to create some cases if you're an employee. That's a good thing to do.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how that goes and if they have access to actual Salesforce or if they're in just the community. So if their Chatter is in the community version of Chatter or in the real orgs version of Chatter, and
Right.
then where do customer groups go from here? They probably disappear at some point. Very intriguing.
Oh, yeah.
Very intriguing with the Salesforce One community cloud platform.
Clearly, there'll be more at Dreamforce on this.
I think
this feels like
this is a lead up to Dreamforce
Yes.
for certain.
Remember all of us who were using. Remember all of us were using the Chatter app last year, like in July and August, and we're going,
all
God, they
of a
just
sudden,
keep putting all these features into it. Look,
all
you can
these
do this, you can
features.
read, you can do this, you can do that. And
can
it's
create stuff
you
from
can create
it.
stuff. We didn't get it, and then
Right.
it was
Salesforce One Mobile.
It was Salesforce One Mobile.
That just happened.
It just happened.
Yeah.
All right, next up, the things that are just happening. Salesforce continues to drive wearable innovations.
Yes. This was an article on ZDNet that
ZDNet.
I found. So Salesforce is...
Talk about 1996 wanting its news source back.
Yeah.
ZDNet.
So Salesforce has offered an update on its Salesforce Where offering, which is, I guess, I'm going to go ahead and guess, an SDK for building applications on wearables. So wearables include, those devices that the Samsung Gear, Google Glass,
Fitbit, Nike Plus.
No,
which
those are
not.
those are not supported. They support
Sorry.
They support 11 devices. So there's
Google
Epson
Glass,
Moverio,
Android Wear,
Jawbone UP, Vuzix M100, Meta Space Glasses, Oculus Rift Join Pebble.
They have Pebble.
Samsung Gear, Google Glass, Moto 360, Mio, and Bionim. I'm going to screw this up.
I'm actually looking at the video of them on the Pebble. It's kind of cool.
And they're going to continue to expand their portfolio of supported devices as people ask for more stuff, right? And they're trying to beat or, get their way into this market so that they can become a platform for building things on these devices, much like Android has become a platform for mobile phones and mobile devices and tablets. So I find this interesting just because it's Salesforce related. I'm not the biggest wearable person. I don't have a wearable. I have not invested in a wearable just yet. And I thought that this would be just an interesting conversation point because you have had the wearables. You've used the wearables. We've dabbled in the wearables before. But where do we see wearables in general, like in the workplace? Because I don't think of Salesforce as a
Fitbit
consumer thing. I think of it as more of I use Salesforce at work thing. So is this, I don't quite get it. Like, is this a way to go into the consumer space? Is this, I think licensing always gets in my head, and it just screws the whole thing up.
Take. Hey, this is not an exclusive podcast.
Screws?
Yeah.
Screws up?
Like
that's not
okay.
That's not bad.
Okay. All right. Whatever.
I'm
Why
gonna
don't you keep
continue
saying it? Maybe we can. Anyway.
I could have said way worse.
Yes.
Mucks the whole thing up.
There you go. Oh, good. It rhymes with screws.
It messes the whole thing up.
You're so good.
You have to take so many things out in post.
Yeah, so many things have to come out in post. So, okay, so let's talk a few things. I'm a little distracted because I'm watching the video of Salesforce.
Stop watching videos in the middle of podcasts.
The Salesforce Where on Pebble, and the reason I'm doing that is because I own a Pebble.
You do own a Pebble,
Actually,
which your daughter throws around the apartment.
No. She has her own Pebble now.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
She likes it?
Well, we got her a gift. Actually, funny story. I got her a gift.
Where'd you find this video, by the way?
It's on there. It's on Salesforce, developer.com, developer.salesforce.com/where. If you scroll down to the Pebble video, you watch that while I tell a story about Pebble. So I got her a Kickstarter project, which was a wearable computer. Not in this normal sense, but it was called Stormfly, and you could put it on your wrist, and then you could plug it into a computer, and you could boot up like your own computer. Basically, it was basically a computer on a USB, but in a wrist. So I got it for her because she wants her own computer, but we don't want to give her her own computer because we don't think she deserves it or needs it. So, but the actual it's a Kickstarter fail because it was funded. They could never produce them. They did produce them, but they didn't work. They had a huge flaw in them. So I got one of the ones that didn't work. But I didn't know that. I gave it to my daughter. She gets this gift for her birthday, and she's like, "Oh, but it does." And I tried to do it with her. We tried to boot up. It doesn't work. So she was so excited about the idea of having this computer, kind of semi-computer, on her wrist. And I felt so bad because I'd given her a dud of a product that went out of business. And she had my Pebble, because I don't really use my Pebble, but now with this developer pack, maybe I will. I said, all right, I'll get you a Pebble So you can, one of the new colored ones, and you can have a Pebble. And she loves it. You can download stuff. She connects it up, and she's kind of a geek. Like, I'm kind of happy because she's kind of a geek, and I feel like, if anybody's going to rule the world, it's going to be blonde-haired, blue-eyed geeks. Like, she's going to, if she actually becomes a good geek, I could see her standing up next to Mark Benioff's son in 30 years being like, yes, well, when I started geeks and whatever, and I now run a multi-billion-dollar company. Anyway, so I have Pebble. I do have tons of wearables. Now, I would say I have gone from a ton of wearables down to less wearables because of the iPhone, the new iPhone, whatever is S. It has the motion detector thing in. So I use an app that I made a pick of the week for me called, funny enough, Argus, Argus, which uses the motion detector in your, in the app. You just keep it on you, and it tracks all your steps and tracks all your things, and you can track other things in it. I talked about how it, it interfaces with other things for, like your heartbeat and whatever. And obviously, this is where the world's going in terms of wearables, fitness, right? HealthKit is coming out with iOS 7, I think, next week. Hey, there's what we can talk about next week. The new Apple announcements. So I'm all in. Now, what Salesforce is doing, again, in this little video, if I've given you enough time to watch it, it shows them
I'm not impressed, really.
Well, it shows them from your phone,
controlling
Salesforce One and seeing opportunities, whatever. I think that's where it becomes like, well, what if I have this with me all the time? What do I want to have on my phone?
I don't want it on my wrist. It's literally an inch.
Right. It's not a lot of information.
Like, so what? I have 15 leads to convert, and you're telling me on my wrist. That's a lot of work to do on my wrist.
Well, maybe this is getting back to our first conversation, which is that there's a push in Salesforce, and it started last year with Salesforce 1, and I think Tim Cook of Apple has said it. He says, I can run my entire company on my iPad. I do all my work on my iPad. Mark Benioff, that's all I do on my iPhone. And maybe this is where the wearables and mobile is going.
This is a bit of a... When you're like Mark Benioff, you probably could run,
Tim Cook?
Tim Cook could probably run Apple from an iPad. He probably could.
Really? Why?
Because I don't think he's doing a lot of work. I think he's answering a lot of emails, and I think he's looking at a lot of presentations. Then
I'm going to call up Tim Cook tomorrow.
I don't think he's like in Salesforce configuring stuff. That's not his job. I don't think he's in there coding Apple's next product.
If you're answering emails,
I don't think he's like designing the next iPhone on his machine. He's got designers and engineers to do that. He's making decisions.
Right. He's probably sitting in a conference room 90% of the day.
Yeah, so he sits on his iPad.
Right, so that's how he runs his business on his iPad.
Right.
Okay, fine.
I think Mark Benioff could do the same. He's not in there building the next generation of Salesforce user interface, but he might be sent some screenshots. Hey, do you like these? Yes or no? Vote on these in chatter feed. Poll. Yes, no, maybe.
I guess.
I mean, these guys could a product manager at
0.001%
Salesforce
of the world.
Precisely. Could a product manager at Salesforce do their job from their phone? No, they couldn't. They definitely couldn't.
So I'm fascinated from wearables in more of a health. And again, we've talked about. Did you talk about Sense? Not really wearable, but kinda. You're putting it on your pillow.
That's gonna be
your first Kickstarter.
Foray? No, I've had Kickstarters before, but my first foray into
health
wearables, sleep monitoring.
I think it's fascinating.
I guess I use when I run, I use Runkeeper, which is a wearable,
right? Yes, it's wearable.
It's my phone strapped to my arm,
right?
I mean,
it's
a rudimentary wearable.
Yes. The cell phone has become more. It has GPS. It has location tracking. It has motion sensors. Again, if you're looking at who wants to rule this market, and again, next week, as of Tuesday, Apple has this big announcement. We maybe hear the new iPhones. We might hear mobile payments. We might hear HealthKit. What really is behind it? And everybody has this prediction of the iWatch.
I just want a new laptop.
Well, everybody has the new iWatch, which is again getting into the more wearables. I think here's where wearables become interesting. This is the only case for me: voice and to control things. So I've told you that I think we're so close away from our home automation's getting huge. always in the car you can have Hey Siri or whatever, where Siri's kind of always listening. That's in the new iOS 8. You can say, Hey Siri, call Justin on his mobile, and she'll just do it. You don't have to click anything or tell her.
Haven't you seen that commercial for Windows Phone and how it just totally rocks?
Same thing. But now imagine it's on your wrist, and Hey Siri or Siri is kind of always paying attention.
I don't know if I want Siri to be always paying attention to me.
There you go. That's, I think, maybe the downside.
Siri, look away.
Siri, don't look. Siri, I'm sleeping.
Siri, get out of my face.
It's like your dog. Get out of here.
Get off of me, Siri.
But now you're walking down the hall towards your apartment. Instead of going into your phone and grabbing your phone and going into the thing and turning on whatever, you go, Hey Siri, turn on the lights in my house. And it's not because you've changed the world and everything has a microphone. It's because you're wearing a device that has a microphone built in, and then she connects to your phone and then tells your house to turn on all the lights, right? So I feel like that's more where wearables are going. This is going to be a small little interface into something bigger.
We're not doing a great job of bringing this into the enterprise.
Enterprise scenarios, I think, are just...
So, like, where's Salesforce playing here?
Well, I think probably more notification stuff than they are in anywhere else. Chatter notifications on your Pebble, on your mobile device. Okay, crazy. I'm walking down the street with my Google Glass.
Right.
And I look at somebody. They now have mood recognition in Google Glass.
I want a Google Glass.
I don't.
I kind of do.
They look so terrible.
I don't care what they look like. I kind of just
terrible.
want one.
I kind of want one, but I want it to be invisible. If I get invisible, just literally embed it into my eye. But okay, I'm walking down the street and I see you, and it recognizes your face and looks you up in Salesforce and pulls up your Salesforce record, right? Kind of like in Sherlock, right? The show.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
My Mind Palace.
But it's your Salesforce. If all your data's in there, I see everything about you. I see all this stuff. I think you get there, and then you get voice recognition where I can write stuff into it. Mark, close out that opportunity as close lost, put close reason as, whatever, and it's just doing it for you.
Thank you, Mind Palace.
Yes. So that's where I think it's going. And this is kind of cool. Again, it's more of just, I think this is just them showing off their APIs. Here's my APIs, and look what you can do with it.
Probably what it is mostly
But
about.
they've actually, this page, they
put some
put
effort
some
in there.
put some effort
some
into
videos and stuff. So before we get to the picks of the week,
yes,
we have already talked about Dreamforce and how we're exhibiting.
Yes.
But why don't we give the fans of CloudFocus Weekly a little something to look forward to? So last year,
I already mentioned it.
What?
What are you going to say? Oh, that. Sorry. Go ahead.
You didn't mention it, but I'm going to mention it. So last year, if you were there, you watched us perhaps podcast from the podcast studio at the Community Zone.
Right. The Salesforce One Community Zone cloud.
Right. This year, you can not only watch us, but you'll be able to hear us, we believe. There'll be an on-air sign.
Safe harbor.
Safe harbor on all this. There'll be an on-air sign.
Yes.
And we will be in the admin zone podcasting in a dedicated podcast studio.
Yes.
So we have been invited to be podcasting. We'll have exact times for you when we get closer to Dreamforce, but it's looking like we'll be podcasting Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yes.
At Dreamforce in the admin zone. We'll tell you exactly where that is as we get closer. And you'll be able to hear us as we're doing the podcast live.
Right.
So that doesn't mean we don't want you to download the episode if you listen to the whole thing already.
Right.
You just don't have to listen to it again.
Right.
But you do have to download it still.
Right. And most likely we will have some swag with us.
Yes, we'll definitely be giving things away. I want to throw things at people.
Okay, well the stuff we're getting
for
swag
very
is
light.
Oh,
I don't want
to.
Yeah, I want to throw soft things at people, and I want them to scream and yell and me, and I want to throw them at them just like when you're at a football game because it's so cool.
Here comes the flight connection.
Right. And I want to throw
Okay.
I want one of those air guns to shoot things at people.
Okay. I don't know if that's going to be this quite a thing.
No,
but
it's not. But it's going to be cool.
But one of the swag items we've been talking about for our Dreamforce would be perfect
it will
for
lend
throwing.
itself perfect for throwing.
Another one won't be. Two of the others might hurt.
Don't want to throw those. They'll be sharp and pointy.
Why are we getting knives? Why are we getting Arkus knives?
Why is there a Swiss Army Arkus knife?
Not a Swiss Army bow.
Just
Bowie knife.
knives.
Just knives.
Like
just throwing knives.
Here,
come to our booth.
Random
and pick
knife.
Up, and
some of them are dull. Some of them are sharp. Your luck.
Pick up the Permissioner knife.
It is the Swiss Army knife, or actually, it's been described as the scalpel of mass assigning.
No, I think we're gonna have 3 nice pieces of swag that I think people who listen to this podcast are gonna want to come get.
So next time on the podcast, we're gonna focus on Apple. Yeah.
Well,
since they're gonna be making their announcements.
Maybe I'll make people vote. So we have 2 things. Yeah, I think we'll focus on Apple.
Focus on Apple,
but maybe
we
2
like
times out.
Apple.
Although we're getting close to Dreamforce, and we might have a lot of Dreamforce stuff to talk about. But we're thinking about maybe doing a
rehash,
a streaming TV
rehash
part 2 or 2014
Since
edition.
We watch so much streaming television.
Yeah, basically everything's streaming nowadays. But maybe we'll do our top 10 picks of new TV, meaning nothing from our list
that we've already done. So that takes 20 things off the table.
That's right, 20, and it can't be. Anything we picked, we can't pick again.
Yeah,
and then do our top 10 of like the TV we've been watching. Everybody really liked that episode. We get a lot of people say. Yeah. I've had people come say, I heard that TV. Someone talked to me about it. I went and I listened to it. It was a lot of fun, and then I just kept listening because whatever.
Because you subscribe and you're lazy and you don't want to unsubscribe.
All right. Let's do the quickest.
Let's do the quickest picks of the week. All right. So, you know what's funny is someone sent me this pick.
Does not sound quick.
Someone sent me this pick.
Yes.
Paul, thank you. Sent me this.
Yes.
And I totally ignored it.
Okay.
I was like, thanks. And then I just ignored it. And then I read about it on TechCrunch like 2 days later. And I was like, that thing looks cool. And lo and behold, it was the same thing that Paul had sent me. So thanks, Paul. Contact Center for iOS. Really for the iPhone.
Okay.
It's kind of like a launch pad for all the different ways that you communicate on your phone. So iMessage or messages, email, FaceTime, phone, WhatsApp. It has a tie into third-party apps, so WhatsApp. And it allows you to, in folders, put people in groups, and with like one click, kick off an email to everyone in that group.
Okay.
Or kick off a mass iMessage, a group iMessage to everyone in that group. So it's kind of like a launching pad for messaging and communicating within the iPhone and all your contacts that you have on your iPhone.
Okay.
So you can just launch like new message from inside of it to anybody. Fine, that's whatever. It's probably quicker to just go to message, say new. But when you have a group of people that you're constantly communicating with, it might be nice to have one click, boom, and you have a group message, off and away it goes, or a group email, off and away it goes. Same thing with WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. So it's free. It's from a company called Contrast. It's just an interesting and different way of, like, they tile it out, a different user interface for looking at ways of communicating on the iPhone.
Sounds like something I would already own, but
it's free, so you don't really
why
own
not
it.
try it?
It's like a try it, see if you like it. It's interesting. It's a different way of looking at things. What's yours?
It's one of the things you have to think about, though. Like you have to think, like,
you have to
I have
organize
content. I have Contact Center. Oh, let me go use that.
Yes, it's not super like, built into the operating system.
It's free, and it's coming out of my... All right, so I have a new one. I have a bunch. I just picked this one because I started using it, and I've kind of been using it a little bit. I'm kind of fascinated by the industry. So there's a whole new thing about brain training now that, people get older, but you can train your brain. You can keep it fit. You can do things with it. And so there's been a lot of apps, and there's some that are like very expensive. And I think you probably have heard even ads for ones on Sirius and whatever saying like, train your brain with this or that. So this one came out the other day, and I was like, oh, let me give it a shot. And really the theory was, I train my body. I'm running and doing this, and I go to the gym and work out.
I can tell.
Yeah. But I was like, training your brain. What a kind of interesting concept. I downloaded this app, and then I read a bunch of scientific articles about it, and it doesn't seem like there's any proof that this really works. It's proof that you can become good at the games, but not that it really makes your brain stronger. But anyway, this one's called Elevate.
Oh, that's not the one that I've like heard of.
No, I know. That's why I'm picking it. I'm giving you something you haven't heard of.
Okay.
It's called Elevate. It's free, although there is a subscription one in it. It basically has a daily set of games that focus on a couple of different things, reading and comprehension and whatever. And they're not necessarily games because they're about vocabulary. They're about reading comprehension. There's one where it stacks a bunch of like things you have to read quickly and then asks you a couple questions.
Well, I'm so bad at that.
Yeah, and so I've kind of done it. It does the daily reminder, hey, you should go try Elevate today. So I've kind of done it for like
Get out of my face. I don't want to play
a couple weeks. It's really quick.
Are you smarter now than you were
I
3
don't
weeks
know.
ago?
Well, I think, it has all the graphs and stuff to see if you're better. Anyway, as I am with all these electronic things, I'm fascinated by the progress and the tracking and I've gotten better at this. I mean, I do typing still. I still do typing games like every couple weeks to improve my typing. So anyway, I'm picking it. Elevate. It's called Elevate Brain Training. It's on the iOS. It's probably anywhere else. It's free. There is a subscription that's like $49 a year.
Ooh,
don't think I would buy that.
Don't do that.
But the free games are okay.
Do the free.
And
ad supported.
And that's week. That's it.
That's
week.
what?
I was thinking next week.
That's a week pick.
All right. That's it. Follow @Just Edelstein. Follow Jason and Matwood, Arkus Inc., Facebook.com/Arkus Inc., Success Community Group. There's a CloudFocus Weekly podcast group. There's been some chatter in there. We love that. Thank you. Tell us who you're listening. Go to Stitcher. Go to iTunes. Leave us reviews. We love that. Follow us everywhere. This is Justin and Jason saying enjoy those cloudy days.